Hello, my name is Dale Maley. I'd like to tell you about a very interesting project that I recently finished. A little background on this project. Thomas Googerty, who died back in 1945, was an ornamental iron artist, and he taught at the Pontiac Boys Reformatory for about 4 decades. The Livingston County Historical Society is setting up a permanent Googerty display room, but very few of the iron artifacts either made by him or by his students still exist today. So the question is, how can you display some of these artifacts? So I thought about it and I got an idea. Mr. Googerty wrote 3 different books about blacksmithing, and in those books there are sketches with dimensions in some cases of the iron objects that he made. So why can't I redraw some of those artifacts in modern day Sketchup, a free drafting program? From that I can export an STL file, and that's a type of file that you need to have things 3D printed. So I could have these old 100-plus-year-old artifacts reproduced by 3D printing. So as my trial project, I wanted to pick something a little bit simpler that he made. So I found a simple drawer pull in his 1911 book. And here's part of the sketch with dimensions that he had. Now here are the dimensions that he actually had for the drawer pull. And you can see it's about 3¼ inches long. It's about 1¼ inch high. Now I'm pretty good with SketchUp. I've got more than 1,000 hours drawing with it. So it only took me a few minutes to convert Mr. Googerty's old 1911 sketches into a modern day drawing in SketchUp of that drawer pull. Once I got the drawer pull done in SketchUp, I did have a slight hiccup. I'm still using a very old version of SketchUp, version 7, because that's what I started with and it's free. But it will not generate an STL file. But I do have another later version, version 14, and it was easy to import the drawing into that and then create the necessary STL file for 3D printing. I was pretty excited when I got the drawer pull redrawn in SketchUp and I created that STL file. So I just Googled to find a 3D printing company and got a quote and almost had a heart attack because they wanted $154 to make 1 unit for me. The last few months I've been using a new AI program called Perplexity.ai, and I really like it because it's more accurate than the other ones, and it also gives all the references that it uses. So I asked that AI program, Perplexity, to find me a lower cost 3D printing supplier. They gave me 3 recommendations, and the first one was called craftcloud3d.com. They're basically a consolidator in Germany. People send in their requests for quotes on 3D printing jobs, and then they send them out to 3D printers around the world, and I think they give you a choice in the country that you're in to pick whichever supplier you want. Magically, the cost dropped from $150 to just $25. And there was a company in Texas, so I chose that one to give it a try. I was very excited and happy when I got my first 3D printing job, and here's that Googerty drawer pull that I ordered, and I put a pencil in there just for scale. It really came out nice. Now the 3D printed model, plastic model of my drawer pull is not functional in that the handle does not rotate like in the real thing. And if I wanted that, I probably would have to make several different orders for the different parts, and then assemble them myself. But hey, for just a museum display, a non-functional model is perfectly fine. Now for my second project, I picked an ornamental iron hinge, as shown here also from one of Googerty's books. There was no dimensions on this, but I really didn't need them because I could import this into SketchUp and draw all the curves. And I kind of scaled it so the hinge was about 6 inches wide, which makes a nice demonstration artifact for our new Googerty room or museum. So I scanned in the drawing from the book, redrew it in SketchUp, then made the STL file, and I ordered a 3D printed plastic model just like in the first project, and actually I ordered it from the same Texas company. So my first project cost $25 to have it 3D printed. This hinge was about the same cost, about 25 bucks. Again, I just made one order, so it's not going to be functional, but that's okay for this project, and I ordered it from the same Texas company. Again, I was very pleased when I got this in the U.S. mail and opened it up, and it's really a pretty looking hinge. Again, I put a pencil in for scale, but it really turned out nice. Now the drawer pull and the ornamental hinge, they're okay exhibits to demonstrate blacksmithing, but I wanted to do one more thing that would really demonstrate how artistic Mr. Googerty really was. Now here's something that really demonstrates Mr. Googerty's artistic talents. He made at least two different styles of dragon head door knockers. These are very popular around, say, 1910. Now you got to remember, this is before we had electricity and doorbells for your front door. So you typically have a door knocker on your front door. But all I had was this photo, which came from a 1999 exhibit of Googerty's stuff in Memphis. So I got no drawings, no dimensions, just this photograph. Now Sketchup, the free drafting program that I use, it's really great for drawing most things, but it's not great at all for curvy type surfaces like animals or human beings, anything with a lot of curves. There's other software programs out there that are used by people who design and make sculptures, for example, but they have a very steep learning curve, which means it takes many, many hours to get halfway proficient at using that type of software. So I noticed the company that I ordered the 3D printing stuff from, they offer a design service where they would take the picture that I had of the door knocker and convert it into a 3D image that could be 3D printed. But again, I about had a heart attack. Their quote was $450 to do that design work. That's probably not out of line if you figure 100, 150 an hour, and it's going to take 2 or 3 hours to draw that dragon's head. But I really didn't want to pay that. So I'm pretty stubborn, so I decided to give it a try and see if I could design that dragon's head in SketchUp. I spent about 6 hours trying to draw that thing. But boy, I gave up. I really crashed and burned trying to draw that dragon's head. To give you an idea how badly I failed trying to draw the dragon's head in SketchUp, here's what I came up with after 6 hours on the left-hand side, which doesn't even look like an animal. And then what I really wanted, the dragon's head shown on the right. So yep, I sure did fail on that one. So at this point I thought, now what do? Do I just give up on this? Or do I keep trying to figure out a way, because it would make a really neat display of Mr. Googerty's artistic abilities. So then I wonder if I could find another AI program that can convert a 2D image of a 3D object into a 3D computer model for 3D printing. And really, I just need the dragon's head itself. I can draw the rest of that in SketchUp fine. So I decided to ask my AI program Perplexity if it knows of another AI type program. Since I just wanted to focus on the dragon's head that I can't draw, I actually printed out a paper copy that I got from that 1999 pamphlet. Then I cut out just the head using some low technology scissors, and then took just the head, scanned that in, and made it a computer file. Now my Perplexity AI program recommended that I try another AI program called Meshy. It's a powerful artificial intelligence tool designed for rapid 3D model generation from text prompts and images, making advanced 3D creation accessible for professionals and hobbyists alike. Core features: it allows users to create 3D models instantly by simply describing an object in natural language or uploading images. This enables artists, game developers, and 3D printing enthusiasts to produce high-quality assets without prior knowledge of traditional 3D modeling software. So I uploaded my image of the dragon head to the Meshy program. It analyzed it, and then it came back with 4 different options different ways that dragon head could look, but I got really excited because the first one in the upper left-hand corner is almost identical to the paper image from 1999. It's just a hair different, but boy, it's close enough for what I want to do, and I really liked that image. Then I noticed that it has 314,736 faces involved with creating that. No wonder I could not draw that thing in Sketchup. So at this point I was very excited. I hit the download button in the Meshy program so I could download the file. But oops, it came up and said you must subscribe to the service to get the download. So the options were $10 a month or $120 a year. I went ahead and paid the $120 for 1 year, thinking I'll probably use this for some other applications. Now I'm a retired engineer, so I grew up using flowcharts, find them very helpful. So here's a simple flowchart of how I went about getting that dragon's head 3D printed. So the upper left hand, I scanned the photo in from the 1999 Memphis exhibit, and then I drew everything except the dragon head in SketchUp. Then I printed out that dragon head on paper, and I cut out just the dragon head with the scissors. I scanned that into a separate file that I uploaded to the Meshy AI program, which I paid $120 for. That created the STL file just of the dragon head. I imported that into my SketchUp program. I blended it in with the rest of the door knocker, and then I created two different STL files, one for the base of the door knocker and one for the rotating head part. And I wanted it to be functional when I got it. Then I ordered two different 3D printed models, one for the base, one for the rotating dragon head. The total cost was only about $30. So after I placed the order for the two 3D printed parts, I was really anxious and excited to see if it would turn out decently or not in terms of the very complicated dragon's head. And when I opened up the package and took out the two parts, here's what I saw, photographs, and I really was happy with the dragon's head. I was really happy with both parts. So I figured I would make my own 1/4-inch pin. So I took the two parts, and they had a starting hole in them that I designed in. But I went ahead and drilled them out 1/4-inch size, and it's plastic so it drills easily. And then I just picked a piece of 1/4-inch diameter wood dowel that I had and used that for the pin. And now it's functional, and it even makes a nice knocking sound. When Thomas Googerty made his dragon head door knockers more than 100 years ago as a blacksmith, probably used one piece of iron to beat out the curved part and the dragon's head, so he had a smooth transition from the dragon's head down to about a 5/8 inch hex rod diameter, which curves on down to the actual knocker knob. Well, I imported that dragon's head in and blended it in with my curved hex part, but it's not a perfectly smooth transition. I did try to fix it a little bit in SketchUp, but I quickly gave up and I said it's good enough. This does a very good job of demonstrating Googerty's very artistic talents, and I doubt anybody looking at it in the museum exhibit will even notice that it's not a smooth transition. So I'm having a sign professionally printed that will explain each of the three 3D printed items I had done for this museum exhibit. And they'll be shown in the Googerty room in the Stravell House in Pontiac. I had those professionally printed by Aftershock Graphics in Fairbury, Illinois. Some closing thoughts on this project. Although it was challenging at times, it was a fun project. It was relatively easy to redraw some of Googerty's book illustrations in SketchUp and then have them 3D printed, which those projects included the simple drawer pull and the ornamental hinge. But it was a rather challenging project to convert a photo of a circa 1910 dragon head door knocker into a 3D printed model. I had to utilize the Meshy AI program to convert the 2D photo of the 3D dragon head into an STL file for 3D printing. So in summary, this video explains how to make 3D printed models, in this case of over 100-year-old iron artifacts, using a combination of Sketchup drafting program and Meshy AI software. I hope this video helps you in your projects. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. Thank you.